Welcome everyone to Monday's webinar. This is a special webinar for e-filing. I'm going to be covering a lot of specifics today, different from the ones I've done in the past when it comes to setting up your e-file in profile, I'll be talking about setting up your credentials, file pathing, what to look out for when you're entering your password, and errors that you may be getting when you're trying to send out your 1135 or your TP22. So I'm going to be talking about those. So let's get started. I just want to thank everyone for today's attendance, and also if you have any questions, please place them in the control panel of the GoToWebinar. There's a section where you can post your questions. What I'll do is I'll answer those questions at the end of this webinar, or towards the end of the webinar. I can answer those questions. But I want to talk specifically on these topics. That way you're ready to go when it comes to e-filing your returns. Okay, so let's get started. I'm just going to bring up profile here. First thing we're going to talk about is file pathing and making sure that that's set up properly. So I'm going to bring up profile. And specifically when we're talking about filing the return for T1, you will see a file path under options. Under e-file, options, and then there's a file path that you'll see under e-file internet, under your common. And when you e-file a T1 return, a file will be saved in this file path here. If you decide to save it somewhere else, then you can browse for where you want to save it and then just point it wherever you want to save that file for e-filing. For those who may have switched computers, this may still have the old file path. So if you've switched computers, such as you've upgraded from Vista to Windows 7 or Windows 8 or Windows 10, this file directory still may be the same. Make sure you direct it to the new file path on your new system. Again, you would have to use the browse and then browse for, by default, it will go under your My Documents in your C drive, or under your user, under yourself, under My Profile, My Documents, My Profile Data, and then it will be saved in the e-file folder, which is found in here. Let me just bring it up right here. And once you've repointed it, then you're able to, I think I'm on the wrong screen, so let me just make sure I do that for you guys. Okay, so again, to change the file path, you would have to go under e-file, options. For T1, it's going to be under the general T1 common, and it's this file path here. You can change it by clicking on Browse and then switching it to wherever you want to save the e-file file. Okay. By default, if it's a change of system, like I mentioned, just repoint it to your new system, your C drive, the user, and then under your name, in my case it's J. Cosin, My Documents, My Profile Data, and then you would go look for the e-file folder, which is here, and then you press OK, and then there's your file path. So when you save a return, when you e-file a T1 return, it will go to this file path, not the file itself, but the actual e-file file for CRA. For T2s, it's under T2 e-file, and if you switch computers, then you would have to repoint this. If it's still looking at the old directory, if you want to save it somewhere else, then you would have to use the browse. Same thing, you'd have to use the browse and then repoint it to wherever you want to save it. Okay, and that's the file path there. That's for T1 and T2. Most of us are doing T1s right now, so the most important one is to go under the General tab, T1, and then there's your efile directory, and make sure that that's pointing to the right place. Okay, if you get an error that it mentions it can't build the file, I think a good first check would be to check this file path and make sure that it's going to the new system or it's going to an accessible file directory. All right. It's going to bring up the questions here. I'm sure you guys asked about that. Let me just bring that up for a moment. Okay. Yeah, I noticed that everyone's okay. Perfect. So we'll talk about those. All right. Next topic is going to be efile credentials. So before you even get to the file pathing, it's a good idea to deal with the efile credentials if you haven't already. And there's two ways of actually entering your CRA online number and password. First one is going to be under efile, set efile password, go to next, and then you would enter your online number and your password. It says case sensitive, and this is a good note to make sure that you do if you're re-entering your password or entering a new password, and that is if the password that you get has a cap, then use capitalization. When it's a number, just take the cap off or the shift lock and put the number in. And so just follow along what CRA has given you as for a password, and it is case sensitive, so if it's a cap, then just use the shift. If it's for a number, take the shift off or the cap locks off, and for the rest of the letters, you would make sure that you just follow along what CRA has given to you. Okay. Then you go next. If you have an MRQ number or a net file number for Quebec, and then you would enter it here. It's just having you to confirm your efile number, and then you can finish. Those numbers can also be entered under efile options. As you notice, when I went under General T1 efile Internet, there were numbers here for the online number and the password. And again, it is case sensitive just for your information. Okay, so if you've entered it actually in under set efile password and you've done it in here, you don't have to do it again under the efile options because it will just enter it into the CRA identification. For the T2s, once you've entered that same information for T1, it will carry on to T2, and you can use the same efile number and password as long as you're authorized to do efile T2s with CRA. Okay, so again, you can enter the CRA online number through efile, set efile password, or efile options, efile internet, and then that's where your fields are. Okay. How to enter password and profile, and what to do if it sticks. So again, that was also what I mentioned with the cap locks and the case sensitive, making sure that you're entering it in accordance to what CRA has given you. If it's capitalized, then use the shift, and if it's a number, just take the shift off or cap locks off and put in the number. Okay, and the last one I'm going to talk about is currently we are experiencing some errors with the 1135. We're aware of it, and we have our developers working on a fix for the next release or an upcoming release sometime soon. If you indicate on the information page for no to foreign income, and you get an audit message mentioning that you have to fill in the 1135, just sign off on that 1135, and you'll be able to send that return. Right now we're aware of it, we're fixing it. Just be aware that if you do see that error in the auditor message, all you have to do currently is just sign off on that message. Okay, same with the TP22. Okay. And just bring up the TP22. I think that's on the Quebec side, which is the income tax payable. You may get an error with this, and on the Quebec side in the auditor, and just sign off with that. All right. I'm going to check my version here and make sure that I have the right version. Yep. And right now it's still in draft, so just be aware that some forms are still in draft, and especially with the non-resident returns. We had a few calls on that today, so it was worth mentioning for me today on this, just in case you come across non-resident returns. Some of the forms are still in draft, and they will be available out of draft when we have CRA authorization, which will be towards the beginning of March. Okay. All right. So let's. I'm going to take a look at some of the questions now. If there's anything that you would like to know more about when it comes to e-filing, please mention it under the questions. I'm going to leave this support information up for you in case you want to give us a call or chat with us or send us an email. I've also mentioned the support page here with some great information on articles, how-to videos, and recorded webinars. Okay, so I'm just going to take a look at the questions. Faranek, is there a PDF package to follow through? I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you could just repost your question, Faranek, for that one to clarify what you mean, I can definitely answer that question. Profile screen here. Can't see. Sorry about that. Thanks. Screen. 159 number. If you could verify, or Yang, or Yan, just let me know what you mean by 159 number. Kern, when we enter passwords, do we have to save it to the template? Actually, as soon as you enter that information, Kern, it's saved within profile. You don't have to do anything to it. When you close that window, it will be saved within profile under your profile. Okay. So Kathy asks, how do you e-file a T4 or T5? That is for the FX slips. I can mention that pretty quickly. Let me just bring up a FX return here. Just find one for you, 2016. Looks like Santa Claus has been busy this year, so I'm going to look for a T4, make sure that that's available to be filed. T4 slip. Okay, I'm just going to make sure I have one that is filled out. Okay, it looks like I have one. So in order for you to carry forward, and this applies to the T5, Kathy, is all you have to do is you have to have a slip available and filled out, and then once that's filled out, you can simply go under the e-file, transmit slips, and it's ready to file. If you don't have this, if it's grayed out, just quickly check your info page and make sure that RU magnetic media or internet filing slips is selected to yes. It's the most common error that we get, or common question that we get when it comes to e-filing the slips. When it's grayed out, they have a slip available, they want to file it. Just make sure that on the info page that this is indicated. If that's indicated, all you have to do is just go under transmit slips or T5013. Another section too is file properties, and check your e-filing status. and make sure that it's ready to file. If it's on something else like work in progress or unknown, it may not come up as a option, so make sure that you just switch that to work in ready to file, sorry. And then now if I go to efile transmit slip, T4 will be available, and then you can select whether it's an original, amended, or canceled. In this case it's original, and I just press OK. When you press OK, it will open up a CRA web page. Just follow the prompts and the pages, and make sure that on the CRA web page you go through all the steps until you reach the point where CRA is able to give you a confirmation number and a success message, and you'll know that your slips has been filed to CRA. If you don't receive a confirmation number, or you don't get to that page where it gives you a confirmation number and you think that you've uploaded it, just double check with CRA to make sure that it has been uploaded to the CRA website as a precaution. Okay? All right, hopefully that answers your question, Kathy. Great, thank you. All right, let me see if there's any other questions here. Yeah, definitely, I can send that to you. I can grab the email addresses. But there isn't too much information. I'm actually recording this webinar, so if you ever want to view it again, I'll have it posted on both our YouTube page and also our support page for the recorded webinars under the free, I believe it's free tips or free training. Okay. VJ, that's something that you want to ask your sales agent. So VJ asked if I could have a full day profile training. That would be great for those individuals that aren't too familiar with profile, but definitely reach out to your sales agent and see what they can set up for you. Okay, that's a great question, VJ. Lenny, can you file a 1013 separately from the tax return? I'm trying to get access to a client's personal return. Yes. So under the, I'm just going to switch over to this return here. The 1013s do get sent separately. Make sure that you do print it out and get your signature or get your clients to sign that form, and then once it's signed, you can go back to profile, and the option for e-filing the 1013 is right here. Okay, so you would just fill in your 1013 authorization, fill this in, get it printed out, get it signed by your client, and then once they've signed it, they've given you the authorization, you can come back into profile and just use this option, e-file the 1013. Okay, great question, Lenny, and hopefully that that covered what you needed. Cam, are there any issues with e-filing the 1013 right now? Some error when I tried. Just make sure that you have, there shouldn't be any issues. The only thing I would do is making sure that you have this filled in properly and have it signed by your client, and then once it's signed, you can send it out by using that option that I just showed Lenny. Okay. Mohammed, how to avoid multiple download for T4 when we're checking file my return feature. I believe Mohammed's talking about the CRA data import. There is an option now that enables you to select the T4s. There's we've added a feature or window that enables you to have a lot more control when it comes to importing the data. Let me see if I can find that article for you under our CRA under our profile website. There's a great article that we updated when it came to when it came to AFMR. Let me see if I can find that article for you, Mohammed. That way you can just do a reference to it. Let me see here. Okay, it's still searching. Let me see if autofill comes up. Okay, so this actual article is a great article to go through. The additions when it comes to really selecting the information that you want to import is right here. So you're gonna see a window that says Data Import Worksheet, and enables you to select which actual slips or data do you want to import in. So that is something that we've added in this year that gives you a lot more control when it comes to importing the slips. So hopefully that will help you, Mohammed. I know last year it was a bit of a struggle. We've listened to a lot of our clients, and we've made that change to improve the experience. Nancy, I don't have a file that I can test efile, so I apologize for that. Deleting a form, let me see if I can quickly show you that. It's a great question. It's not applicable to what we're doing right now, but it's a good information for your season. So say, for example, you have a T1135 that you filled in, and you created a second one by mistake, and you want to delete that. Let me just create another one, new form. So I have a second one here by mistake, and I'm thinking, no, I didn't want the second one. I want to delete that. There's an option under form to delete the form. Clear the form basically just clears all the information that you've inputted, but it doesn't delete the form. The best, if you prefer to, if you're not using this form, then I would suggest is form delete form, and it's going to ask you to confirm, and then the T1125 number 2 is now gone. Okay, so if you ever have a form that you mistakenly created, usually it's the ones that you can do multiple forms of, like the T2125 or a T776 or 777, then you can use that option to delete the form. Okay, hopefully that answers your question. That was, I believe, for Betty. Thank you, Betty. James, this is not specifically about efile. When a person saves the options file, what are they actually saving? That is more of the advanced feature under options packages, James. I can answer that for you quickly. That has to do with anything that any option that you create or specifically indicate under options menu. You can create an options administration. That file is going to save everything that you customize under this option menu. So it's going to save a file extension or a file with a file extension .pof, and that will save just your changes that you may have made. For example, you customized your options module to carry forward your election question. So anything that you indicate here, anything that you indicate under your data locking for any year, 2016, 2014, 2015, you get the idea, where anything that you change under this option menu will be saved in that options package. Okay, and there's an advanced video where it shows you how to transfer that file, and if you want to know quickly on how to transfer that file or copy that file so that you can load it onto another machine, reach out to us, or look out for the video for it or the article for it in our support page. Okay, hopefully that helps you, Lenny, or sorry, James. Jessica, yes, with the NR4 amended and you want to send in an amended slip, you can. All you have to do is just make sure that on the slip itself, so for example, I'm just going to use the T4 as an example. I would change the slip type to amended, okay, for the NR4, and then once you've indicated amended, and you go to make sure your properties is okay for that, it's ready to file. Okay, and then now you can e-file transmit slips and then select your NR4. In this case, I'm using the T4 as an example. Just change your data type to amended, okay, and then you can send it out. All right, that's a great question, Jessica. A lot of people ask about that. A few more questions. I've got about four minutes. Can we file the 1013 right from profile? Do we need to scan and sign copy? What I would do, Deborah, is definitely print out first, get that signature, and all you have to do is just use the option under eFile. Let me just switch over to T1. Once you get it signed, you would have a copy of that 1013 that's been signed by your client. And then once you have that signed, you don't have to do anything of it. You just keep that for your file, and then you go e-file the 1013 for this taxpayer, and that's it. Okay, great question. That was for Deborah. Colin, Colin wanted to know if there was a way of filing a mock return. Currently, I don't know of an option, but let me, I'd have to reach out to PD for something like that. We usually have something that we test with CRA, but I'm not sure if it's available for the public. Okay. Right now, Colin, I don't know anything that you can do to practice filing a mock return. Lenny, when we complete a T1, the client will sign the copy, but we transmit a copy without a signature. That is correct. So, as I mentioned for Deborah, it is the one without the signature. The one with the signature is the one you keep for your copy. For the T183 Part C, let me just bring up the T183. Just make sure that you have this updated, so make sure that you're on the right update 3.0, which is the current version. Nancy is asking, will there be defaults on Part C of the T183, which is this section here. I believe, Nancy, if you could just clarify that. I'm not sure if you mean by us indicating this under the options module, where you can select T183 and then set your defaults. So if you could just clarify on that, that would be awesome. Actually, this is only for the 1013. Okay. You could just clarify that. Share the link, thanks. Testing T1 e-file, I was asking if I can test the e-file, make sure I have all the settings done correctly. Nancy, usually when you send a return, it will bounce back if the e-file credentials is not correct. It will give you an error like check your CRA credentials. It will be in the auditor message. Okay, James, we're struggling with setting up the label printing. We select the template we want, but when you come back, into the program, we have to reset it all again. James, what I would suggest is maybe reaching out to our team. Just reach out to this number here or reach out to us via chat, and we'll be able to help you with that. We would have to check on your settings. I wouldn't know what to start out with or what to look out for when it comes to troubleshooting this. So one of our agents will be able to help you with that, James. My apologies that won't be able to answer that here. Okay, so it looks like most of the questions are asked. I have 2 more questions here, which I will take. Form 1135, individual code, or T2. Let me see. Let me bring up that form. 1135, which is the foreign income, 1 or 2. It looks like you are asking about these codes here. So individual or 2. What I would suggest is just checking with CRA how you would indicate this. Not too sure about that. Okay, so individual code 1 or 2. Great question, Richard. Queenie, do we need to keep a copy of the signed T1 if we have a client signed T183 when we e-file? I would get both signed, T183 and T1013. And save it for your copies. And Mike, yes, this will. This session is actually recorded, which I usually post on the YouTube page, and eventually gets linked to our support page where all the how-to videos and the webinars from the past have been recorded. Okay. End of the form. Thank you. So if you want to know the codes, they're actually here for individual code. If the individual or the individual spouse common law is self-employed, and if the individual and the individual spouse are both not self-employed, those are the codes that you would use in accordance to individual codes. So thank you for that, Mohammed, for pointing that out. And that would have been for Richard. So Richard, just take note, just go down to the bottom of this page, and then you'll know exactly how to indicate this in accordance to your clients. Okay, so thank you again for today. I'm glad I was able to do this February 20th webinar for you on a Monday. I'm sure you guys had a lot of questions, and I hope I answered those questions, so it'll save you some time. And look out for Thursday's webinar. We're going to do a webinar on the AFMR, the autofill my return, and I will be mentioning some of the quick changes or the great changes that we've made in accordance to the process, just to make the experience that much better for you this season. Again, have a great tax season. I appreciate your time. If you have the opportunity, fill out our survey. That way we know how we're doing and if there's any topics that you'd like us to cover in any future webinar. Have a great Monday.